one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to setting goals and intentions is actually knowing what it really is that you want to become or achieve. And I think it can feel really overwhelming this time of year when there's a huge emphasis to finish on a strong note, set New Year's resolutions, and become, that best version of yourself. And I'm really not a huge fan of that whole New Year, New Me concept. But then I do appreciate that the new year is a nice marker to help us reflect, reset, and then renew in some way. And what can help is really getting clear and to the core and understanding, based on your values, what it is that you want to achieve. So instead of these strict rules and basically shaming ourselves when we don't reach a particular goal, I wanted to share a technique I use so you can really get clear on what it is that you actually want in life. Goals that aren't so ego driven, but goals that feel aligned with your purpose and what brings you the most fulfillment. Before anything, it's really important to just take the time to ground and really come into the present moment and dedicate a couple of hours to this process of just exploring what your values are. That could look like a 10-minute meditation, or even just putting one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly and noticing your breath, noticing your feet on the ground, and just really coming into the present moment. And the benefits of this is that it gives you clarity and helps to remove some of the external noise that can often distract us from these types of processes. So, creating intentions that are value driven is really key. So, let's explore how we can actually identify what those values are. You might already have some kind of buzzwords in your mind of things that are important to you, whether it's kindness, compassion, drive. Some things might come into your mind, but I'm going to share on the screen some values, and some of them might stand out more than others. Thanks to Brené Brown, where I discovered my own values. And as difficult as this may seem, I want you to pick two. So out of these values that are on the screen now, pick two of them. And I know your mind will probably feel like you align with so many more in one way or another, but really just take the time to ponder over which two of these values feels most connected to you right now. Or if there's another value that's not on here that you feel more connected to, you can use that as your starting point. The two values that stood out most to me were connection and kindness for this current season, anyway. And instead of thinking about the intentions, to begin with, think about the behaviours that support you living in alignment with those two values that you've chosen. So, what are some current behaviours that you're doing or behaviours that you want to do in the future that link back to those values? So, here, as you can just see, I have got a piece of paper, I've put my two values at the top, and then I've split them. So, under connection, I'm putting things like yoga classes and workshops, connecting with my loved ones and local community. So I'm really drawing on the things that I already know, make me feel good, and support that idea of one of my values being connection. And again, don't feel like you have to rush this process. This might take you a while to think of those things, but you'll slowly start to think of lots of different areas in your life that support those different values. So, for example, you can see that I was stopping and starting there and then realising that there were certain things that I needed to add to the list. So, just taking your time and allowing whatever comes to you to go down onto the paper. And then I just went and did the exact same thing for the other value. So once I'd thought of all of the things that link to connection, I moved on to look at the things that link to kindness and the behaviours that link back to that value but also make me feel good. So now you should have both of your value-based behaviours, and this will then help you set those value-based goals. So you'll be able to look at the things that you're already doing that link back to your values and make you feel good and make goals based off that. So you'll start to see with some of mine, they're things that I want to achieve that either link back to connection or kindness. A couple of things to think about when it comes to setting your value-based goals. Obviously, looking back at the two values that you've put in there and how your goals link to that and almost serve that purpose and allow you to live and align with those values, but also being as specific as possible. So what are those specific things that you intend to do that will help you live in that way? Because if you're vague, it can be really easy to have that lack of direction and not really know what you're doing. Whereas if you're specific, it actually gives you something more tangible to work towards. There's a lot of science that supports the value of having numbers as part of a goal. So you can see here I've been really specific in terms of the times that I want to be on my phone. So I've said not before 8 a.m. or after 8 p.m. I'll also put a figure in there in terms of the day rate that I'd like to secure for one of my clients. So lots of specifics in there that link to numbers as well, just to help me visualize and actually make that possible. I think we have this perception of goals that we create around this time of year needing to be really big and extravagant. But I think actually when you focus on really small goals and things that are going to help you get towards the feelings that you want to cultivate or the values that you want to live by, that's where the magic is, because it's much easier for you to achieve. So you kind of build on that reinforcement that you can do it and give yourself that confidence. But they're also things that are going to really make you feel good to your core and align with your purpose. So I hope this video has helped you think about how you can make your goals more value-based and more purposeful. I will have some additional videos and content around how we can make goals actionable. I have my workshop on 14th of December, so if you see this before then and there's still tickets available, I would love to see you there. If you can't join us live, I will also have the recording, so I'll leave a link to that in the bio. And you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more New Year and intention setting based content, and how we can move into the new year in a slow but positive and intentional way.